In the annals of global history, few periods stand as prominently as the Cold War era. Spanning from the years following World War II in 1945 up until 1991, the world watched in anticipation as two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, grappled in a period of intense geopolitical tension. This was not just a struggle for supremacy, but a clash of ideologies. On one side was the United States, championing the cause of democracy and capitalism. On the other side, the Soviet Union, a relentless advocate for communism. Yet, despite its chilling name, this Cold War never boiled into a full-scale military conflict between the two nations. Instead, it was a war fought in the shadows, marked by proxy wars, an escalating nuclear arms race, and a web of espionage that spanned the globe. So how did this tense and tumultuous period unfold? Let's dive into the timeline. The seeds of the Cold War were sown in the ashes of the Second World War. As the world looked upon the ruins left by the Great Conflict, the victors convened to determine the shape of the New World Order. The Yalta and Potsdam conferences of 1945 saw the Allies, the United States, the United Kingdom, and the Soviet Union, carving up the defeated Germany and its capital, Berlin. The world was effectively split into two spheres of influence, setting the stage for a political and ideological standoff that would last for almost half a century. By 1949, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, was established by the Western Allies. This was a collective defense pact designed to counter the perceived threat of Soviet expansion. Not to be outdone, the Soviet Union responded in kind, forming the Warsaw Pact in 1955. The world was now divided into two distinct blocs, each armed to the teeth and suspicious of the other. The stage was set for a series of proxy wars and confrontations that would define the next few decades. The Korean War, from 1950 to 53, was one such confrontation. It was a brutal conflict that saw the world's superpowers backing opposing sides on the Korean Peninsula. Fast forward to 1962, and we see the Cuban Missile Crisis. This was a 13-day standoff that brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. Then came the Vietnam War, a protracted and controversial conflict that started in 1955 and didn't end until 1975. As the 70s dawned, the world breathed a sigh of relief. This was the era of détente, a period of eased tensions and increased dialogue between the United States and the Soviet Union. The Strategic Arms Limitation Talks, or SALT, were a key part of this process. These negotiations aimed to put a cap on the arms race and prevent the world from spiraling into a nuclear holocaust. However, the final years of the Cold War were marked by a renewed sense of hope. This was largely due to the policies of the Soviet Union's last leader, Mikhail Gorbachev. His initiatives of glasnost, or openness, and perestroika, or restructuring, sought to bring about fundamental changes in the Soviet system. But perhaps the most symbolic moment of this period was the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. This event marked the end of the division that had defined the world for so long. This chronology paints a picture of an era marked by tension, competition, and an unending arms race. It was a time when the world was constantly on the brink, teetering between peace and destruction. But it was also an era of change, of dialogue, and ultimately, of hope. The Cold War was a complex and multifaceted period of history, and its legacy continues to shape the world we live in today. Now, as we look back at the Cold War, we can glean several key points. This tense period of geopolitical rivalry was not just about the power struggle between two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. It was also an era that shaped the world's political, economic, and cultural landscape in the second half of the 20th century. The Cold War spurred a wave of technological advancements, particularly in the realms of space exploration and nuclear technology. It was the backdrop for the space race, which pushed humanity to new frontiers and expanded our understanding of the universe. Moreover, the Cold War's impact on international relations is still palpable today. It set the stage for the dynamics of modern global politics, influencing how nations interact and negotiate with each other. The Cold War, a stark symbol of ideological divide and global power dynamics, forever changed the course of human history.